Hi everybody. I felt like I wanted to come on and record a little video for you all today about some things that have been occurring to me about fear and some of the things that are happening on the planet right now. I am currently at the beach. I'm just taking a little walk on the beach, just bringing in a little bit of ocean vibes for you all. Hopefully the background noise is okay. And, last night we're here at the beach because we're doing some workshops here in Surfside in South Carolina. And we always have a really good time when we come here. There's always amazing people that show up. We always meet new people. And the yoga studio here is really wonderful at Market in Common. Yoga in Common is the name of it. But last night we did a sound journey and a healing ceremony for everybody. I think we had like 18 or 19 people there. And as soon as I opened the energies and Josh began playing our Tibetan bowls, it was very, very obvious to me that we were going to do a big fear clearing at the very beginning. And, some of you might have seen my video that I posted earlier last week about kind of the war energy that's going on right now and how that's triggering a lot of old stuff for us, and it's triggering internal war energy that we may be carrying within ourselves. And just had a pretty big clearing on that in the last week and a half myself, and it was really, really significant. It was very ancestral for me. And I'm also realizing as that's cleared out that there's just so many lifetimes of grief in my field of how often on this planet, in order to create change or to shift power or try to control, we've gone to war. And I just wanted to speak into that because, obviously we're seeing this play out on the main stage, and it's so quickly on the heels of, what we've moved through in the last 2 years. It's like we finally were able to take a deep breath. The C word was kind of being released from our field. And here we are working with the W, the war word, right? And, I feel like this is, we've done so much work to raise our vibration and to increase our frequency. And so many people have woken up over the last couple of years and are going to continue to do so. And yet here we are seeing this energy trying to come in and derail that and bring so much fear in. And, one of the really interesting things that happens to me when I start to see this amount of fear being perpetuated in our field, in my opinion, to control and create constriction and limit our light, is that it brings up a shit ton of anger for me. And it's taken me a long time to realize that that's exactly what gets triggered when fear is present and why. I used to think that it got triggered because I didn't want to feel the fear, and as an empath, being around the energy of fear it's like nails on a chalkboard, probably worse than that. I don't know what's worse than that, but probably worse than that. And this week when I went through an ancestral clearing, I was shown that on my maternal ancestral line that there was a whole bunch of wars that happened. I come from a Mexican Indian background, the Mohawkins, and I was shown this image of me burning our dead after war, and I was just sobbing and just crying. And the reason why I was crying is because not just because we had lost so many people, but there was a visceral knowing inside of me that we didn't have to do it that way, that there was another alternative, there was another solution. And I've been dealing with so much anger over the last month. It started at the beginning of February before any of this erupted. And you know, if you're spiritual, you're not supposed to be angry, right? That's what we're conditioned to believe. And so I've really been like trying to sit with this and breathe into it. And what's underneath it is a shit ton of sadness. Because I still know at a deep level, like this is cosmic wisdom that I feel in my bones, that we don't have to do it this way. And yet, there's another part of me that understands that we're not going down the same path that we've been before. And so that fear, I just need to let that go, right? Even though we've done this so many times, we're not doing it in the same vibration that we have in the past. But also, there's this part of me that just realizes that if I'm sitting in the anger and I'm wanting people to wake up and see that we can do this differently, that we can create change through community, we can create change through love, we can create change through peace and connection. If I'm holding anger of like, why can't people see that? Why can't people wake up out of their fear? Why can't they do it? I'm not really helping anything. And so I've had to sit with this anger and give it space. I've had to let the feminine part of me, who is very, very angry, I've had to let her rage a little bit, much to the dismay of my husband, I'm sure. And I've had to let her cry. I mean, I had some big releases in February, the beginning of February, with like 36 hours of just crying and crying and crying. And now that I've given her that space, there's this other piece coming in, this beautiful wisdom starting to come in. And I'm holding that space. It's not all landed yet. I feel like there are certain codes that are coming in, there are certain teachings that are coming in, and I feel it all alchemizing in my heart space. And it's really beautiful, and it feels really different, but I haven't quite turned the full corner yet. There's still a lot of processing to do of all of these lifetimes where this war has been present. And I think that's the layer that I'm working on now. As I got up this morning and started clearing a whole bunch of fear out of my field that I picked up and tuned into last night in our workshop, I noticed that when that fear is present in my field, the usual worries that I have about, am I getting enough done, am I doing enough, whatever, were getting triggered, because that's how my mind tries to work out the fear. But that really wasn't what I was afraid of. What I was afraid of is, are we as a collective going to be able to figure this out? And the small part of me that is afraid of that, and I say it's a small part of me because it really is, like, I know we've already made our choice of how we're going to go through this in terms of we're ascending, right? This is happening. But there's still this part of me that's been traumatized from all these lifetimes of going through this in a way that didn't feel supportive and scary, that has fears about how this is going to happen. But if I keep feeding those fears, then I'm perpetuating those cycles. And so, there's that saying, don't feed the fears, right? Well, that's kind of what we're all working on right now. And I'm having to be incredibly diligent about how I operate in my field, what I let into my field, about my boundaries. There's so many things that I'm having to be incredibly diligent about while I'm processing through this, because I don't want to layer on top of everything that I'm already clearing, right? And some of you might be feeling the same. And so I'm really fortunate to be here at the beach to let some of this energy clear through Mama Ocean, right? And so if you're feeling that, just tune into that in your body, wherever it is, wherever that constriction or battle energy is, that resistance energy, that fear energy. Take some deep breaths and breathe into it. See if perhaps you, rather than forcing it out of your body and saying, oh, I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to be in this vibration, see if maybe you can just lean into that resistance energy, that fear energy. This is what came in the sound journey last night, of just asking us to be with it, lean into it, and slowly, as we breathe into it, begin to feel it kind of dissipating or breaking up in our field. So fear energy is really, really dense. It creates a lot of constriction. And when we breathe into it and we bring light into it, it starts to just gently pulse open. Right? So if you meet fear with more fear and more resistance, it's going to get bigger. And that's the really unfortunate thing that a lot of people in power don't realize. And why we get into some of the situations that we do on this planet. And so choose something differently in your body if you can. And I'm just seeing this beautiful column of violet flame energy starting to come down wherever you are on the planet. And so see if you can welcome that into your body. And that violet flame energy is going to begin to purify some of the density that you've picked up from what I call the mutant 3D matrix. The things that are being fed right now that are trying to keep us from expanding. There's so much, talk about fear, there's so much fear of the people in power about what's happening, because everything that they try seems to be backfiring. And so that really ironic thing is that the people that are perpetuating all of this fear in our fields are scared to death way more than we are. And so just feel into that for a second, see if that feels true for you. And certainly we can have some compassion that they're in fear and, that's why they're showing up this way, but we don't have to feed into it. We don't have to welcome it into our fields. And so just take a couple of deep breaths. I'm going to just flip the camera around a little bit, so if you would like to look at the ocean while you breathe here. And just let that violet flame energy just pulse through your body and clear you out. Clear out all of that density. Just let it go. There's really nothing else for you to do when this fear comes up other than to be present in it and be with it. I know sometimes I tend to go into this anxious, nervous energy because I don't always realize that it's fear in my field, and try to create action and change, and it doesn't always work so well. And so as you just breathe, just let it go. I'm just feeling here for myself this violet flame going through my whole body, just dissipating all of that. And it, this energy likes to get kind of hung up in our mental body field and get stuck in our brains and our mental capacity, and we can just clear it from there. We can clear it from the emotional body, the physical body, and the energy body. And just perhaps if you're really aware of your auric field, you see that opening up and getting lighter and lighter and lighter in this moment. And just breathe into that for just a second here. In this moment, you are safe. In this moment, you probably have everything that you need in this moment. It could change in the next moment, but in this moment, you have everything you need. You have your breath, you have your attention and awareness, your personal empowerment to do something different in your field. It's all here and present. And so then just start to fill in with a little bit more light. I like to welcome in some beautiful, bright sunlight. You're out in the sun. And after you do that, ground down into the earth and offer that light to the earth, thanking her for holding space. Sending some light up to source, almost like you're a spotlight of energy, just thanking source energy for being present. And then just come all the way back into the now moment, fully present here. Noticing what shifted, and you may need to do this a lot right now, right? This kind of coming back. We're working this month on emotional empowerment, and that means that when these triggers come in, like fear or grief or sadness, that we can, number one, identify them, and number two, we can work within our field to become more empowered to process those emotions quickly, easily, with grace, with clarity. And what I'm finding is that this emotional empowerment is a part of helping us empaths have greater boundaries. And it's also a part of, helping us be more in our overall power here on this planet. Our emotional body is housed in our sacral chakra. And there's so many parts of our planet that are trying to take over our sacral chakra. There's all these systems and structures and things that are trying to pull on that creative power. It's a whole other diatribe for me to get into. And so that's what we're really working on this month. So you may have to keep stepping back into your power. Oh, something triggered me. I'm stepping back into dealing with that emotion, feeling that emotion, being present with that emotion, processing that emotion. And then, okay, now I'm back to my center again. So you may find yourself doing that a lot this month. And the opportunity that you have is that by the end of this month, I think we're going to be in a very different vibration in terms of our empowerment within our emotional bodies, which I personally, as an empath, am so looking forward to, because I feel everybody's lack of emotional awareness and empowerment all the time, myself included. And it's a struggle, it's a struggle to go out into the world sometimes. So if that topic interests you, on Wednesday, March 9th at 7:30 p.m., we're going to be diving into that in our healing circle. There's a whole bunch of teachings coming in on clearing this battle energy and war energy out too. It's all interrelated. And and so that information will be below this video if you'd like to join us. And so comment and let me know how this was for you. And thank you for watching. And sorry if I'm a little out of breath, just taking a nice brisk walk here on the beach. Beautiful early spring energy coming in, a little chilly, but beautiful nonetheless. So thank you for watching and have an amazing day.